So I'm kindly joined today by Hishem, who's the founder of the Recruitment Mentors. So thanks for joining me today, Hishem. Can you give the viewers a brief intro into you and your background?
My name is Hishem Azzouz. I'm the founder of Recruitment Mentors and also host a podcast called Recruitment Mentors. And really quickly, Recruitment Mentors is a subscription-based learning development platform that basically partners with growing recruitment businesses that typically have limited learning and development resources internally to support their consultants maximize their potential. And we partner with those recruitment businesses to ensure they have the best possible chance of maximizing their potential and staying within the recruitment industry.
Fantastic. So that's probably a good starting point, to be honest, Hishem. What got you into that? How did you, because it's quite niche, to be honest. So
I'd say just a lot of sort of gut instinct, willing to take the first step. I worked in recruitment for nearly 3 years, then joined a marketing agency that just sold to the recruitment industry, then started my own business, which was a sort of personal branding training business. And then just all of that combined with having a podcast and all these different things led me to sort of taking action on an idea I had around building a sort of learning and development community that was really focused on helping recruiters that would probably be listening to the podcast even further. So just a lot of gut instincts, really, if I'm honest.
Okay. That sounds great. And if I asked you, what's your mission? Like, what are you trying to achieve with your business and the Recruitment Mentors?
Yeah, sure. So I'd say, the vision for the business and what we're trying to achieve is to build a place that ultimately helps recruitment consultants maximize their potential professionally, mentally, and sustainably. And that's our vision, to build that place where recruiters can go to have the best possible chance of being successful.
Okay. Sounds great. And taking you back a little bit. So what my idea with what I wanted to understand with Behind Their Success is trying to identify key overlaps in successful people and key indicators where you can look at different people from different industries, but with each one you can look at something and say, right, this is something that is happening across the board with these individuals. So if I would take you right back before you go into your career, maybe from a younger age, tell me what your personality was like and when you started realizing certain traits that were helping you succeed in what you wanted to do right from an early age.
Yeah, look, I think for me, the thing that comes up immediately is like being someone that is willing to take the first step.
Okay.
So I had no idea what I wanted to do. I wasn't the most academic person. I was okay. I was always the sort of kid that sort of was told that sort of teachers, parents even Hishem's got potential if he applied himself more. Right. So I was typically that person. So after went to college, got below average A levels. We're talking season D's, didn't know what I wanted to do. At this time, you could get EMA. Don't know if you remember that, EMA at college.
Yeah.
So decided to do a third year at college because I thought, right, might as well, I can get £30 a week to go to college, carry on. 30 quid went a long way back then, it feels like. Randomly, I actually did plumbing for a year, did a plumbing course for a year, first year of college, still had no idea what I wanted to do. So just doing different jobs. I ended up delivering pizzas for Domino's, did that for a while and different things. And then basically the sort of catalyst moment really was, and it comes back to taking that first step. I did the classic thing one summer, did a guy's trip to Magaluf, Spain, and then decided the following year that I was going to do work there. Right. Okay. Went over there on my own, completely on my own, booked a flight to go there, stayed in an apartment with other people. And basically that's when I then got my first sales job, which was basically selling tickets to a bar crawl, commission only. So you paid me €10 if I closed you, and you'd pay €15 on the night. And I would spend the day evenings trying to get people to pay tickets for this bar crawl. And if I didn't, I wouldn't make any money.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, actually, because the last person I had on the podcast, and I don't know whether it is about Magaluf, but he had his epiphany moment in Magaluf as well.
Really?
So he's the founder of Amplified Nutrition, who's a really successful health and fitness nutrition business. He's a bodybuilder now. And his epiphany was in Magaluf when he said he took his top off and decided that, actually, I don't want to be the skinny guy anymore. So I don't know if that happened in the exact same place you did, but it seems to be a common theme that there's that one moment in your life where you look at something and think, I'm good at this. actually.
Yeah. I mean, it can definitely be I think there could be sort of a lead domino for sure for things, but I wasn't good at it at the start.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't good at it. I mean, I had to stop people in the street. I had to disrupt people when they're sunbathing, sitting by the pool, knock on people's doors in hotels. Like, I was shit scared of doing all of that at the beginning. But
I think what you said, which is really interesting, is the first step. So you're good at taking that first step. And I feel like from what you've just told me, that was a first step for you in one way or another.
Yeah. I mean, being there in the first place was the first step.
What happened from there then? Why would you look at that and say that's the first step?
What, as in why that was an interesting moment?
Or why that would have been a first step for you that led on to other things? What happened from there?
Because after that, I improved at sales and I really enjoyed it. So all of a sudden, my whole life up to that point, early 20s, I was like, I had been in jobs and my relationship with work was like, I could do X amount of hours and not work as hard as the next person and get paid the same, or I could work 10 times harder than the person next to me and they get paid the same. And all of a sudden I was in the sales environment where I was in complete control of sort of the work that I put in and the sort of return that I got. So that just really encouraged me then to be like, right, sales is something that I really want to commit to and see if that's something that I can build a career out of or really improve on. And the whole idea of being able to get back what you put in, I really liked, and that really resonated with me. So after that, I then committed to a sort of career in sales and sort of worked my way through that basically. So that's why it was a sales piece.
So I take a couple of things from that. The first thing is that it's interesting the wording you used behind it, and I feel like that sounds like, from everything you've told me, that was when the first time you found a driver, something that actually drove you, and you looked at that and thought, I will commit to this. So that's the first time, it sounds like, from what you've told me, is the first time you actually committed to something, and there's a correlation there between commitment and finding a drive. So maybe let's delve into that a little bit more about what it was. I know you said, the more you put in, the more you get back out. But you said you also got better at sales. So talk me through that process and how things started working.
Yeah, I just like, as I said, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so many people are in continue to be in that position in their career. And like, it was the first time where like, I really felt like I was like, I got good at something, or I started to get good at something. And like, that was the first time that's ever happened, really. So like, for me, I felt like, right, I can actually do something here. I've actually got a point to prove. I've never really found what I wanted to do. Sales is something that like I can improve on. So for me, I guess it was just the drive to like prove to myself that if I could, there is something I'm really good at and I can sort of apply myself to, and I can make something out of that. Because as I said, like, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So it was the first thing that, like, professionally, I could really apply myself to.
So taking risks for you then, trying things, taking risks, and then eventually, from doing lots of things you don't enjoy or aren't good at, or even not just so good at, because you said that first you weren't even good at sales, but
no way.
You developed that. So I guess it's trying things to find out what you liked or what you enjoyed first and foremost, then identifying things that you were good at. Or if you weren't good at them, was there an interest to develop that skill? So
yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think you've got to put yourself, like, I think I speak to quite a lot of young people in my world, and I'm recording a specific series recently that's focused on people graduating or people that have graduated. And I think, obviously, I was born in 1993, so I was like on the cusp of like, I mean, I got my first mobile when I was in year 3, I think.
Okay.
No, sorry, year 6 actually. It was like this really crappy like Siemens phone, and my mum gave it to me because I was walking from home in case I needed to call her or whatever. So like, I was on the cusp of like growing up with technology, comparing myself to other people, all these types of things, right? And I do feel like the people sort of younger generation coming through now, like there's this sort of idea that things have to work out perfectly all the time, or like they're going to have everything planned out. Yeah. And I think for you to like have the chance to work out what you're good at or what you like or what you don't like, you have to try for sure. So like, I think that's a really important point to underline and be willing to try different things.
Completely. And I think from what you said, which I take the most interest in, is that it's not always the things that you're good at that you pursue. So you told me you're not good at sales, yet you somehow pursued it. So I think you're not going to be good at things straight away. No. So I think the key starting point is, what you actually enjoy, or what gives you that bit extra that you're like, I want to pursue this. Even though I'm not good at it, I want to pursue it. So I think that's what I take from what you've said there. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think thinking back, it was just like this idea of like, oh my God. So like I could literally walk up to someone and like I could basically like be standing here right now and not make any money, or I could literally walk over to people, like make something out of nothing and make money. Like the idea of actually being able to achieve that, like just, I was like, oh my God, that's just fascinating. I was just like I can do that. Like we can do this. I can do that. And then as soon as you get that first sale or whatever, you're then hooked. You're like, all right, I can do it. But I guess you're right. It was I was interested to improve. I was really motivated, I guess.
And another good point you made there is overcoming fear. So you identified you had a fear, but then you sort of had a chat with yourself and said, look, I either stand here, do nothing, make no money, or I overcome this fear and just end up with the same result anyway, but at least I've tried. And it's interesting because that moment there, you could have just been like, no, this isn't for me. I'm not good at it. I'm too scared. I'll leave it here. And you could have never got into sales from that point. So like you say, taking that first step, well, for you personally, that's led to that one step. And that's why I asked, why do you think that was the first step? And I guess you've answered that. That was the first step in overcoming that initial fear. Have you got other examples similar to that then a bit later on in your career when you realized this was something, like you said, you wanted to commit to?
Another big moment for me was, again, I definitely don't have all the answers here. Like,
no, of course.
But I guess the other realization I had was basically, it sounds really simple, but I didn't know at the time. This was shortly after the first season I came back. And basically what I started to realize at that point, all I cared about was just classic, like going out, girls, like do all the normal stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there's two mates in our friendship group that started to like say no to things. So like I'd be obviously going around friends' house, going out, blah, blah, blah. And I just started to recognize that they weren't coming. And that just, I was really curious about that. Like, why are they not spending time with us as mates, blah, 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 like we've always, etc. So basically, long story short is that they'd also had a bit of an epiphany, which I ended up having because I then ended up spending more time with them or going out of my way to be like, hey, look, why are you not coming?
Yeah.
And the epiphany was that they had decided that instead of spending time on doing those things, they were going to spend more time investing in themselves. Okay. So the sort of other big epiphany that I had, which basically led me on this like big self-development journey and spending time on understanding who I am as a person and developing self-awareness, which I think is the next thing that has really helped me so far, is then having the realization that the best investment I can make is in myself.
Okay.
Because before that point, all I cared about was other people's opinions and all the other normal stuff, but I never realized that. I never knew that I can actually invest in myself. Like I can actually learn about who I am and these types of things. So I then started picking up books like just classic, like Tony Robbins, Awaken and Jump Within, Think and Grow Rich, Power of Now, started developing self-awareness, worked out who I am, what do I want to do, what am I motivated by? And that was then the other sort of, I guess, another sort of lead domino moment.
How did that change your life? When that from stemming on from there, what had changed in your life after you realized and had that epiphany?
I mean, it affects everything. It affects my relationships, work, because when you're like way more comfortable in your own skin and who you are, there's just less things that can sort of affect you. If that's relationships, if that's work stress, if that's like just things that could, like, what I find fascinating is that there will be tons of people out there where someone could cut them up in the road while driving and that could ruin their day.
Yeah.
And so like, for me, it was just like the fact that I was making space to like invest in me, my own mindset and stuff. It just meant that I was better equipped to deal with the day-to-day challenges of like life and growing up. and working out what the hell I'm going to do and work and these types of things. So that is, that's how it's, and that's an ongoing thing, but I'd say you're just better equipped.
And do you think that fueled the drive and the passion for what you were already doing? Did that give you more oomph to continue and pursue what you were doing, or more clarity maybe?
Yeah, that obviously, if I'm then like spending time in sort of investing in my own mindset and these things, it was then really easy for me to spend time on investing in sales and like, how can I become a better salesperson? And I was sort of reading books on obviously sales methodologies and frameworks and these sorts of things. So it was then really easy for me to spend time on becoming a better salesperson outside of work. So like, I'd be doing my obviously job, and I was then in insurance sales before I got into recruitment. I'd be learning all that, but then outside of work, I'd be, going on courses, doing all of these things. So like, then all of a sudden, because not everyone has this appetite.
So you became one of those. You became one of those guys.
Yeah, I was one of those like personal development and I'm positive people in the office.
One of those, but not just that. As in, you were telling me when I found this really interesting, because I had a feeling the conversation would develop this way. But you said to me that my friends were, saying no to stuff.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you were fascinated with that. Why are they saying no to stuff? And you then became one of those people. So
yeah, completely right. And then basically,
And it's interesting because we don't take a step back and assess ourselves. And this is a kind of sort of purpose of doing something like this. It gives you a chance to look back at the things that have got you where you are now. And the theme for you, I think, is that first step, always that first step, of whether it's the first step, which usually is intrigue of why is this the case? And then you become almost obsessed with identifying, why are people or why are things the way they are? And you then start developing that and then reiterating it back to yourself and how it's more specific to you and sort of going with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well put. And I think, I'd say again, key point to underline, because I listen to loads of podcasts myself, and obviously people that have been really successful, and they always talk about it, that they'll get loads of DMs and messages on like, oh, I've got this idea, but I don't know what to do and all this. And like, they're always fascinated about why people aren't willing to take that first step. And I think that's just, I don't know where that's came from. I guess it's just it's become a bit of a muscle that I've been able to sort of work on, because there's been like going abroad and doing that on my own and stuff like that. Just like I don't know where that's came from, but you're completely right. It's all started from, not overthinking and being like looking for loads of reasons why I shouldn't take that first step, but just being really willing to take that first step. And once you do that, then you're giving yourself the opportunity to, for things to happen.
I completely agree. And I can resonate with that, because I'm very similar. I listen to lots of podcasts. I read and listen to lots of books, and I had a similar journey as to what you've mentioned. But I think the big thing is, and answering maybe your question of what is the big thing about just taking that first step. And I think the overwhelming thing is that you think you have to do it alone completely. And the reality is, and from what you've already said, is you don't, because there are lots of other people out there that have been in the same position you have, and they will tell you their experience and how they got to where they are. So you're not alone in the fact that, yes, you're going through that journey alone, but there are lots of resources available for you from these people that are successful that you can draw upon.
Absolutely. You're right. But I think the other thing though, not everyone is fortunate enough to have one, friends, and two, have friends that have also maybe taken similar steps or whatever. So I think that's definitely helped, because not everyone has that.
So, even on the friends thing, I meant that the fact that there's people out there that may not be, you have direct,
of course.
Like you said, Tony Robbins and lots of those books. So they guided you without specifically doing it for you, if that makes sense. So
for sure, I agree. But it's definitely a lot more harder when all of your if you're the only person, that's like curious, want to take that first step on different things, and all of your mates just want to go down to the pub, get pissed, go out every Friday, Saturday. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're the weird you can be the weird person in that group, and that can be quite hard to break from that. So those people definitely helped, but it also really helped that there was actually close friends around that also were sort of on that journey. Yeah.
So do you have the same friendship group as you did back then?
Yeah. So I've just had sort of a close friendship group of like 5-6 people like a really solid amount of time, and we're all on our sort of own journeys now. But we've all sort of remained friends despite definitely we don't speak as much anymore. But I think for me, I don't know what your journey's been like, but for me, like it's a lot more about quality than quantity for me.
Yeah.
So like 100%. If I don't speak to, one of my good mates for maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, like when we do speak, it's like really good quality, and it's not like just high level, like, oh, like you're right, mate, like how's work, like how's it going? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like we can actually have really like meaningful conversations, and it's good quality, and I feel positive, I feel motivated after sort of interactions with my friends.
Yeah.
So I've been really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that.
Well, from what you've exactly just said there is that you could maybe speak to these friends once or twice a month and have a real quality conversation that leaves you inspired, versus you could have gone out every single weekend for a month and actually felt worse because you're not working towards something that's more meaningful. So I like what you said there about quality over quantity. And I personally think that the circle of people you're around are a real dictator of how your life's going to go.
100%.
So I firmly believe that's a big part of success.
That's why you've got to, if you haven't got that, it's hard. I mean, I live in London, and do I have loads of friends? No. Do you sometimes feel like you're missing out on things? Yes. But the people that I like, there's like 1 or 2 people that I have ended up building relationships with because like I've really wanted to. And like it's being good quality. So like the thing is, if you don't have that, then you do have to look for it. Like there are people out there that will be like-minded, but you have to put yourself out of the comfort zone. Like when I first moved to London, I was attending like networking events after work every now and again, and like just trying to put myself in settings that I feel like I could meet people that were like had similar sort of mindset to me. If you don't have that, you have to put yourself out there, but it is hard.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I think when you have got that self-awareness and you've gone through that journey of self-development, it can make it easier in a way, because when you meet like-minded people, you have got a value that you're already adding. So I personally believe that if you're looking for something from someone or something, you should also provide as much, if not more value.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
So that helps. There's been a lot of useful points. And to summarize, if I had to summarize what you've said, I'd say the first thing is coming out of your comfort zone, taking that first step, which you've said, overcoming your fear. And the example you used was when you were like, I could either make no sales and stand here, or I can overcome my fear and actually try. And I still make no sales. At the very least, I've tried. That actually ended up being the beginning of leading you on to where you are now. Secondly is a big thing, I think, which I really like what you said, is self-development, self-awareness, constantly feeding that drive and that hunger with improving and listening to mentors and audiobooks, which I really like. And then the third point is your circle of friends and how much do they inspire you, how much you bounce off them. So I think I'd take those 3 things away from what you've said. Anything else you think you'd add to that?
No, I think that's a really great roundup.
It is. I think you should give yourself a pat on the back for that. I think one thing I ask everyone, and it's the last question, I like to put people on the spot, and it's, what one piece of general life advice would you give someone? You can only choose one, so this is why it's tough, but one general piece of life advice.
It might end up being 2, but they sort of go hand in hand. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll let it slide.
So as I said earlier, I was a typical person that I was very consumed about other people's opinions of me. And I think a lot of people can feel like that in their life. So one of the things that's always stuck with me, and I can't remember who said it, but where I've read it or whatever, but basically, let's just say that you walk into a bar, right? And your self-dialogue and what you're thinking about is how people will, like what people think of you. Like let's just say there's 2 females at the bar that see you walk in and you're like, oh my God, like, is my hair good? Am I do I look good? All these types of things, right? Now, if we were to change sort of person for a second and get into the shoes of the ladies at the bar that saw you walk in, the thing that they're going to be thinking is, oh, that guy just walked in. He's quite good looking. Is my hair look good? Blah, 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 all these things. So the realization here and the point that has really stuck with me is that whilst you're thinking about other people's opinions, we're so self-centered as human beings that the other person that you're thinking about is doing the exact same thing that you're doing. So while you're thinking about what are they thinking of you, they're also thinking about what you think of them. The whole point of thinking about other people's opinions and sort of adding weight to other people's opinions and how they're going to think of you, etc., it's just a complete waste of time, because other people aren't thinking about you. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. And that's just really stuck with me. And like, when you then become more comfortable in your own skin and you know who you are and you make space to work out who you are, life just becomes a lot more easier. Like, it just really does. So my advice would be, like, just really think about that. Like, how much time are you spending on other people's opinions? And if so, check that and be like, right, well, look, let's try and mute that and understand that, like, it's my opinion that matters, and spend time on working on yourself rather than energy on other people.
I really, really like that. That's great.
That makes sense, by the way.
Sometimes completely. And it was only one thing as well. You said it's going to be two, but it was one. So that was good. Have you practiced that before? I feel like that was a speech.
No, not at all. But I've said that example because it's like really resonates with me. Sometimes I sort of explain it really well. Sometimes I don't.
You did, and I can see the passion behind it. You really mean it, and I feel like it has made a huge impact in your life. So that is exactly what I wanted. I wanted, I believe that the best things in life come from passion and genuine, authentic belief, and I completely got that. So that's a great point, and I really appreciate that.
Good.
Cool. Well, I've found this really insightful and I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have as well.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. Thanks for coming on.